Okay, so welcome again to yet another exciting episode of the Science Advancements podcast show. So today we are back again with another interesting topic of discussion. But before we go directly into the discussion, I want you to make sure that you like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. So today we are back again with yet another exciting episode of the Science Advancements podcast show. So we are joined by Abel Fumpa and Lamek. Welcome to the platform, guys.
Thank you very much, Mr. Caleb. It is my pleasure
Thank you very
to
much,
be on
Caleb.
this platform today.
Lamek was also trying to to say thank you, and you guys collided a bit. Okay, but yeah, not to actually hesitate, but just to go directly into the discussion so that we don't really waste time. So today, our topic of discussion is Zambia's engineering sector. We're going to be talking about or having a discussion on Zambia's engineering sector. You know, we've heard a lot about how bad or how poorly the sector of engineering in Zambia is doing. But I just want to pick a few nuggets that we can bring on the table today and just discuss. So we're really going to be quick. So firstly, we're going to start with this. I think it's a question that I'm going to bring on the table, and you guys are going to give your thoughts. What really must be done to see more from our engineers in terms of practical ability and execution of skill? I don't know who's speaking it first, but yeah, what really must be done to see more from our engineers in terms of practical ability and execution of skill?
Yeah, so I can pick up from you.
Okay.
So what I can say about this is that we need to look at our curriculum and we need to look at our field of study, engineering as a whole. Because, you know, I was looking at a report from the Commissioner for Higher Education in Africa. It says that 52% or about half of the graduates in the region ain't fit for employment. So that should tell you that about half of the graduates that we train in our universities are not fit for employment. They're unemployable. And this is simply because our field, or let me say our engineering curriculum, is focused more on the theory part, unlike the practical part. And when you look at engineering as a whole, it is more of,
Okay.
yeah, sorry for that. I was disconnected.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so just as I was saying, you find that our engineering curriculum is focused more on the theory part and like practical. So if we can do much of the practical, just starting from first year, after your first semester, you go out there on the field, those that are well qualified, wherever you go for your practicals, they'll teach you so that you can be good at your field of study. And like studying for 5 years and going out there without any knowledge about or any practice about the field of study that you're involved in. So I think we just need to look at our curriculum as a whole.
Okay. Abio?
Okay, so yeah, I'll join in from where Lamek has ended. So I also agree with Lamek that our curriculum needs to change. It is something that has been existing for some time now. In as much as I would say they have revised the curriculum to suit the current industrial needs, but in most cases, or as it is the case, that is not true, because you'll find that we are being taught about some of the things that were used many years ago, which shouldn't be the case. Look, I'll give you of this example where you'll find that there are automated things now, things that automatically do work for us. But you'll find that the things that we are learning are things that were used back then, things that are outdated and that are no longer in the industry. They are not being used because now the industry is automated. We have robots now doing the work, and we have other machines that are automated. So that is the same thing. We need to revise our curriculum, and we also need to fund our institutions. We need to fund these laboratories, we need to fund these research centers, and we need to fund our researchers. These lecturers that we just employ from higher institutions to go out there and teach our students, that shouldn't be the case. We need to sponsor them so that they're also exposed out there. I think that is where we should also come up with exchange programs. I've seen a lot of scholarships out there, but I think this is something that our universities should also take up. We should be able to see the University of Zambia coming up with partnerships for students to go out there and study at the University of Manchester, for example, Cambridge University, and things like that. It might sound unrealistic, but these are some of the paths that we might embark on. So we need to expose our students to what is happening out there. Let us fund our institutions, let us fund our laboratories, let us fund our research centers and our researchers. Let us expose them out to the outside world so that they can see what is happening there, so that even as they come back to lecture our students are empowered with the knowledge that will help them out there, not only in Zambia, but in the world. We need to take out Zambian students to the world.
True, true. Uh, I agree with what you guys have said, and you've stated clear points and things that we must consider, and things that every Zambian that is interested in this topic should be looking at. Talked about exposure, exposure to the practical. To a practical environment where people will be able to learn, not just learn theoretical stuff, but they'll be able to have that practical skill in them, so that when they go into these industries, they're able to apply. Because the problem has been, failure to apply when they go into industries. That has been the problem and the complaint over the years. And people have been saying Zambian engineers are too incompetent. What they've learned, they just have the theoretical mindset, but the practical ability is not really there. And I very, very much agree with what you guys have said. So to quickly move to our second point, this is a very interesting question. Is our education system designed to make people in these fields thrive in their careers? Is our education system designed to make people in these fields thrive in their careers? Your thoughts, guys?
Let me come in just with a short comment there. You see, Mr. Caleb, if you go out there in these institutions, you find that just like I earlier said, our curriculums are outdated. So you don't say that our curriculums are designed to train graduates that to work out there, that will be productive, that will produce the work that the standard work that employers want to see. Because every employer wants to see a worker who produces what? Good work. That is why they are paying you. So, but then our education is not structured in that way. It is not structured to empower students to go out there and do the work that will satisfy our employers. This is why now employers are opting to get people from outside. This is now where we are seeing the Chinese. So someone would rather they get someone from abroad, and then they bring them out there and do the work, because they know that our education is not something that is structured to do what? To produce a work. So that is that, Mr. Caleb.
Okay. Lamek, your thoughts on this, just like Mr. Abio has given his thoughts.
So looking at the question, it says our educational system. So it means it's a system that is starting from somewhere. So this is starting from way back in secondary school.
Yeah, true.
So you find that there's not much that's done when it comes to engineering. You know that a person that is studying engineering focuses on the physical part, or the physics in school, and also the geography and the mathematics. So you'd find that the people that are even in those technical classes, as we call them when we're in high school, are people that don't even want to be engineers. You know what I mean? Yeah. And you also find that the people that are in maybe the science class, the so-called pure class, they don't even to do anything that is related to high school, where we position people according to what they want to do when they go into high institutions. Then surely we're going to progress, because you can't be teaching someone science, the biology, the chemistry, the physics, then out there they just want to do something that is not even related to that. Yes, they'll have the knowledge, but then where are they going to apply that? So it starts from high school. And you even find that in high school, in as much as we would talk about maybe there are those that are interested in doing this field of study, you find that practicals are things that we don't even focus about. You find that instead of starting to do your practicals from grade 10, 11, and 12, you start doing your practicals in your last year of high school. So you find that even if you go to university, you know little or know nothing about the science or the practicals that you did. You just did them because they were supposed to be attached to your results so that they can release the results and you've passed. Yes, you've got to the next level. So if we look into that field where we start training people just from secondary school to say, okay, these were training them so that when they pass, when they're done with high school, they'll go and study engineering, then we're surely going to succeed. Then coming to the high institutions, you find that the people that we employ are people that do not even have a continuous appropriate industrial experience or vice versa. People that don't even know much about their field of study. You find that a person is a lecturer in, maybe, let me say, built environment, or let me say real estates. Someone that hasn't even gone out on the field to see what happens, he just knows the theory part of it. So we just need to focus on the practical part and position each and everyone in the field so that, when we train people, they are qualified, so that when we have the next report from the Commission for Higher Education in Africa, it can reduce from 50% being unemployable to about 0.1% being unemployable.
Yeah, interesting, interesting. I love how you guys have come out and just stated, Abel said something interesting that I want to connect to what you just said. He says, the education system, you wouldn't even say it's designed, to make us thrive because it's outdated. So meaning the basis of our education system is already something that you can't look at. So meaning we are calling for something fresh, something new. And you've said it, exactly. Back in grade 12, you find that grade 10, square one, you're not doing practicals, but you find that when it's grade 12 now, the school wants to expose you to practicals, which to some extent is a bit illogical. And, it just shows our mentality. From there, you'll be able to see that our mentality is that which is behind, because normally we are supposed to be exposed to the practical environment whilst we are progressing. Especially when you reach grade 10 there, you're supposed to be exposed to that practical environment where you're able to do practicals, where you're learning, so that the skill and the ability is actually improving and growing in that space. So I very much agree with what you guys have said, and some good and interesting insights that you guys have brought on this podcast. I'm very much sure that people are going to be delighted watching and listening to such a young men pouring out themselves in such a way. So just to as we come to an end of our podcast today, briefly, I just want you guys to give your thoughts on this. This is the last topic or subtopic that we are dealing with or discussing. Will we ever see a rise in Zambian engineers that will replace the culture of believing in foreign experts? Is that going to be a rise in Zambian engineers that will replace the culture of believing or depending in foreign expertise? We're too dependent on foreign experts. So do you see a revolution or a rise of Zambian engineers that will replace the culture of believing in foreign experts? Maybe just quick, under the next 4 minutes, we can be quick so that we wrap up our podcast.
Okay, so I'm just going to outline some of the things that I think can be done to take us that way. So
Okay.
I think this is something that I mentioned earlier on. Let us increase the funding to these higher learning institutions, because even as we increase the funding, that funding should be allocated to things like skills development, which has been underfunded over the previous years here in Zambia. Look at the national budget of Zambia over the past 2 years. You realize that there's been a sharp decrease in the what? In the allocation to the education sector, which shouldn't be the case. So if you want to head that way, let us increase the funding to the higher education. Even as we talk, we shouldn't just be, this thing shouldn't be about talking. We need to fund the education sector. So let us fund the education sector. Then let us promote these fields of study. This is something that is being done in China. For example, China is now saying by 2020, they are supposed to produce a lot of engineers so that they do not over rely on these other engineers from other countries. So that is a goal that China has set. So it is actually, this is 2020, it is ending. I'm sure they have produced a lot of engineers within this past decade. So even just a statistic that I saw, in China, every year about 700,000 people graduate in the engineering sector, which isn't the case here in Zambia. Because even if we talk about the population, but the ratio of the number of engineers here in Zambia compared to China, it's very different. So that is a path that we should undertake as a nation, where we say, let us promote this sector, let us fund this sector, then I'm sure we can head that way. So let us fund the sector, let us promote the sector. Let us tell people that engineering is the way to go. Let us tell people that science is the way to go. And if we start like that, let us inculcate that knowledge in the children that are going right from primary school to secondary school and to higher learning institutions. Because I've seen people over the years who, there's this predetermined career path that we have, especially in Africa. And most of us are just so focused on going for that path that will give us employment. It shouldn't be the case. So let us promote these sectors and let us fund these sectors. And I'm sure if we do that, we are going to produce people that will be capable of delivering out there in the industry.
True. Mr. Lamek?
Yeah. Also, yeah. So in addition, yeah, I also talk about EIZ and EAZ. So the Engineering Institution of Zambia was established for a purpose of promoting and regulating the engineering profession. So we see that if they can sit down together with our institutions that are providing engineering courses to just look at the curriculum, because it's so shocking to why we import a lot of engineers when we train our own people. We find that we are training people that are working under the shadows of the the engineers from outside there. And also attitude comes in. It is also a problem to us Africans. Also, we need to change our attitude. Most of us are doing a specific field of study simply because we want a social standing, a social status. We want to be recognized as engineers. But no, we need to do it because we want to help our country. Because you must ask yourself to say, why are these projects like the maintenance of buildings and the building of roads being given to the people outside there? It's because, when you look at India, the people there are so patriotic and loyal to their community. They want to see their community go to the next level. So if we can also have the same mentality where we want to see ourselves there to be recognized, we need to change our attitude. So instead of studying so that people can recognize us, we need to study for the love of the field of study that we're doing. So going back to what I said first, this starts from EIZ, the Engineering Institution of Zambia, and the Engineering Association of Zambia, together with the high institutions. They need to sit down and look at our field of study, because as I'm speaking right now, it's very poor, and it's so saddening to see little people, those that belong to us, the Zambians, they're doing little or nothing in these projects, but we need to see them being at the forefront of these projects.
Okay.
Just to add on to what Lamek has said before Mr. Caleb comes in, I was also looking at something that a certain research, and it was talking about brain drain. The Zambian government has been training a lot of engineers and people in the science sector for some time now. But you find that these people do not come back to Zambia. And those people are usually trained to come back to this country and help those that are in this country. But the case is different because people cannot come back. And that is where now we have countries like China, which are trying to reverse. They are undertaking something that is called reverse brain drain, where they're empowering the people in the engineering sector and in the science sector to stay in their country. That is something that also the government should also look into. Let's say we have people like Clive Chirwa who are abroad out there. If we can bring those people here to help us, that can be very, very, very important to the people out there and to the sector, because those people come with their expertise and help us grow the sector. So we should undertake such path. We shouldn't train too many people who only go out there to make money for themselves and not for the nation.
True.
Or rather not for the patriotism of this country.
True. You know, I agree with yet again, you know, keep on agreeing. But yeah, you guys have come out here and poured out some insights, you know, stated facts as they are. And you know, I've learned one or two things from the things that you guys have said, reports, and some of the research that you've done. It's really been an interesting podcast and discussion. So we've come to an end of today's podcast, and I would just love to extend my gratitude to Mr. Abel Fumpa and Mr. Lamek for just preserving your time and just appearing on this platform. Despite your busy schedules, you know, and just deciding to say, okay, I just want to have a say concerning this topic of discussion on the Science Advancements podcast show. Very much thankful, guys, and hoping to have you next time. We've got a lot of topics that we want to discuss, and I believe you guys are going to be back again on this interesting podcast and platform. So to our viewers that are going to be watching, make sure that you like the video, share and subscribe. It's been me, your host